Welcome to Theopodium, and welcome to a bit of a shorter analysis video. I really just want to give my 2 cents on WandaVision and address a question that's been running in my mind a lot, which is, will Vision, Quicksilver, and the twins continue to be in the MCU? Now, before I can tackle that question, there's an underlying question that has to be answered. Are they even real? Or are they just part of Wanda's reality? The answer to that question, I think, is yes. They are real. But let's talk about why. In episode 3, I began to formulate an answer because Vision started to act a little weird. He started to question things. He got curious about stuff and started to mingle with things that Wanda wouldn't want him to mingle with if he were under her control, suggesting that he isn't under her control, which to me said, yes, he is alive. In episode 5, we got a lot of evidence to say that Vision is actually alive. He can think for himself and is not under Wanda's control. And not just with him, though, also with the twins, because they are also, even from the beginning of episode 5, when she tries to put them to sleep and they refuse to go to sleep, they are also showing signs that they do not respond to her powers. She doesn't have control over them, which would suggest that they have a mind of their own, that they're performing actions on their own, which means they are real unless they're being controlled by something else. And then, of course, in the end of episode 5, Evan Peters shows up as Pietro. And there's clearly a problem. He's definitely dead, and it seems very clear that Wanda didn't bring him back, meaning there's probably something else at play, and I assume it's probably going to be Mephisto, although Game Theory made a very good case as to why it would not be a good idea to introduce Mephisto yet. And then in episode 6, we can see that Pietro is showing signs that he is also not under her control, and is thinking for himself. He and the twins and Vision are not pawns in her reality. And Vision is going off the rails at this point, lying to Wanda on the regular now so that he can investigate what Wanda is doing to the town. It very clearly is showing that Vision is thinking for himself, or at least it seems like he is. And what I mean by that is the only other possible thing I can think of is that Mephisto is controlling him, the twins, and Quicksilver as opposed to Wanda. But I don't think that's the case, but I'm just throwing that idea out there because I think it is the only other possibility besides them thinking for themselves. But assuming that they are thinking for themselves, that means that they would be real, that they are actually alive and are not just figments of Wanda's imagination or part of her reality. And of course, we got confirmation that Vision is actually Vision's body because she took Vision's body and presumably rebuilt him and turned him back on. It does seem that Wanda may not be capable of resurrecting life, and we have no idea if she's responsible for her own twins or whether that could have been Mephisto's doing, so we have honestly no clue if she's capable of creating life. But in the case of Vision, he's a robot, so I can believe that she brought him back to life. So now on to the question of the video, will they continue to be in the MCU? By my personal opinion, I think it depends. And by that I mean, I don't necessarily think that all of them will continue to be in the MCU, but I think that at least one of them definitely will be. I hope that Vision continues to be in the MCU, but at the end of episode 6, things looked pretty grim for him, and it almost seemed to foreshadow his death. Although that could just be something that they were doing for dramatic effect, I think it may be quite possible that Vision will end up dead by the end of this series yet again, or that he's unable to leave her reality and so something happens with that. Then again, I want the opposite. I really want Vision to continue to be in the MCU because I really do enjoy his character. The twins, as far as I understand in the comic books, the twins are notorious for giving her grief by disappearing or being stolen or killed or something along those lines. And so I have a sneaking suspicion that they will definitely be gone, more so than Vision. Actually, if someone's gonna go, it's probably going to be the twins. But as a fan of the MCU, I can also tell that they are really trying to expand their superhero number. They're trying to get more characters so they can have an even bigger and more climactic fight at the end of this next decade. And it wouldn't be a bad idea for them to do that by introducing 2 new heroes in the form of her children. That would be interesting. And then there's Quicksilver. Quicksilver, I strongly believe, will continue to be in the MCU, unique to the other 3 that I just mentioned, who I would not be surprised if any of them died, although I don't think all of them will, but Quicksilver, I think, will definitely survive. The reason for this being is not because of any lore reasons, but simply because of Evan Peters. And it's not that I've been keeping up with something that Evan Peters has said or something like that. It has nothing to do with anything that he's said. It's the simple fact that he is in the show. Because to me, it doesn't make any sense that they would recast him unless they had plans for him in the future. They wouldn't commit to changing the face of Quicksilver unless they wanted Quicksilver's face to be in the MCU in the future. That's my personal opinion on that, is the simple fact that they recast Quicksilver means that there was a reason for them to recast him, and what better reason is there besides wanting him to be in more movies and TV shows, wanting him to be a character of the MCU. If anyone survives this ordeal besides Wanda herself, it will be Pietro, because I really don't see why they would have recast him if he was only going to be in this show and then die off. Unless their reason for casting Evan Peters is to foreshadow the introduction of the X-Men, because obviously he was previously working on the X-Men movies. Yeah, other than that, I don't really see a reason why they would have brought him in, besides him staying in the MCU in the future. So that is my opinion on the matter. I think we have some very clear evidence that at the very least Quicksilver will continue to be in the MCU, and through his continuation I think it is highly likely to assume that some other characters from the show might also continue to be. Anyways, I hope you enjoy the video. I'm actually going to be releasing another WandaVision theory at the same time as this one, because this one's a bit short, but I wanted to keep it contained to this subject matter. But there's something else I want to talk about over in the next video, so you can click on that if you want to watch it. Keep in mind that I am not MatPat and I don't do as much research as he does, so this is literally just my opinion on the matter. If you do want to see some real theories, then go look at his video about WandaVision. It may be a bit outdated now because the show has pretty much confirmed everything that he theorized at this point, but I think there were some interesting points in there that still have not been addressed. So go check that out if you want a more fleshed out theory. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video. Go check out my other one if you'd like, and I will catch you in the next one.